Mix It Reloaded, it's kind of educational game that convinces kids they're stupid when problem is design. Alright, you lot. Tonight we're strapping a classroom full of 8-year-olds to a chromatic death laser and ramming them through an asteroid field. This is Mix It Reloaded, a science about light space shooter from Tiempo, published by Bear Sneeze. It's £3 on Steam. Action, adventure, casual indie. Meant to teach kids physics of light while they blast rocks. Quick transparency, before anyone screams shill, developer reached out, asked if I wanted to collab, play it on channel. Even offered keys to give away. I turned keys down. I'm not doing win a code and flip it on grey market site with someone else's work. I bought it myself to test. They've not seen this script and they're not paying me. This is a QA report, not an advert. Short version, on paper it's learnt Spectrum while shooting asteroids. In reality it's a brilliant idea duct taped to a tutorial that's gone out for milk and never come back. Test environment were PC, standard Xbox controller, one working hand, full screen, Unity build. Runs smooth. No crashes, no lockups, no meltdown when screen's busy. Alt-tab behaves, controller supports solid. Technically this thing's rock stable. No oops, kids soft lock lesson moments. So what hell is this game? You're an astropilot, basically a space traffic warden with a laser pointer flying around a 2D solar system. You swap beam colours along visible spectrum to reveal enemies, asteroids and collectibles. Different colours change the speed, hazards and what you can see. Loop is simple. Move, mix colours, see stuff. Try not to die. Overlook photons. When you fail, you answer a short science question to respawn. That last bit's genuinely clever. Learning as a checkpoint instead of some dead-eyed quiz menu. It's a keeper. Visually it's clean. Bright ship, chunky asteroids, big glowing sun. UI built for kids, massive arts, big colour bar, no clutter. All things screams primary school science class but actually fun, which is literally our original game got used. If you only saw screenshots you'd think school had hit jackpot. Then you actually play it like a child would and that's when wheels come off. Finding number 1. Tutorial don't teach. Game lovingly explains colour spectrum, refraction, wavelength, red to violet, whole corridor poster. Then it drops you straight into a mission and tells you no about how to play. No fire button, no movement controls, not even how to switch colours. Note, you're in a live fire exercise with a school trip in back and game has decided you'll figure out cockpit. Adults can brute force it in 30 seconds. Actual target, young kids and especially SEN classrooms, hit a wall. Classic dev brain. They understand their own game so well they forgot that children don't spawn with Xbox controller patch notes pre-installed. Severity is QA? Aye. This is kind of thing that makes teachers regret turning on PC. Finding number 2. Colour signalling's muddy. Game lives or dies on, can you instantly tell one colour from another at speed? Right now answers, maybe if your eyes are having a good day. Orange looks red. Yellow blends in at hot end. Blue, green and violet all start rubbing shoulders. If non-colourblind testers are going, that flare looked red to me, you've already lost a chunk of kids before you even factor in actual colour vision problems. Worse, there's no backup cues, no unique icons, symbols or patterns tied to each colour. All game is betting your corns and rods are Olympic athletes. For an educational game about colour, that's like a maths game where everything between 3 and 7 shrugs and says, close enough. Severity? Aye. Core mechanic at risk. Finding number 3. Difficulty curves are saw blade. Game speed changes based on where you are on spectrum. Lower colours, slower. Higher colours, faster. On paper, that's a gorgeous way to teach wavelength and energy. In practice, games sometimes slingshots you from Grandma Crossing Road to F1 car through Aldi car park in one jump. When colour sequence flows gradually, it feels great. You ramp up, you adjust, challenge builds. Then RNG decides you jump in from bottom to top at spectrum and suddenly every rock is a guided missile. An adult gamer can cope. A 9-year-old who's been told this is fun science time, elite 3 unfair deaths in 30 seconds, decide the rubbish at games and check out. For SEN settings, this build's not tuned. At all. Game's own notes basically admit it. Severity? Aye for classroom use. Finding number 4. Invisible rocks from off screen. All mechanic is shine light, reveal danger. Good, that's point. Until a rock above, below or behind you smacks into you without ever being clearly visible, even with right colour selected. You're doing what game told you, matching colours, pointing your beam ahead, dodging what you see, then bonk. You lose heart to something that were lurking just out of view. For kids, that's not challenge. That's games cheating. If you want teachers to trust this, every lethal hazard needs to be clearly seeable on screen before it hits. Otherwise, you're teaching frustration, not physics. Severity? I for trust. Finding number 5. Progression looks like it breaks. Most of the time, progression's fine. You finish a level, it unlocks, it stays unlocked after a quit and relaunch. Then there's a weird state where failing a level makes previous levels look locked again. For a classroom, that's a nightmare UI. Kid finally claws through level 3, fails level 4, suddenly level 3 looks locked. Now teacher is troubleshooting menu while lesson dies in corner. Severity, medium but very visible. Needs a proper repro pass. Polish stacks, audio UI options, sound first. In this PC build, it's mostly one synth-pop style track looping across menu and gameplay. It's not awful, it's just unending. No panic music when you're in danger, no little you did it sting when you clear a level, just one track. Adults supervising in a classroom are going to have that tune stitched in the dreams. UI-wise, it's nearly there. Layout's solid, bright, kid-friendly, but world selection and level select text are weirdly blurred, and some main menu icons look like someone stretched a small PNG from 2012. Tiny things, but tiny things are exactly what make a product feel cheap. On PC, there's also no options menu, no audio sliders, no graphics or display settings. You get whatever it decides. On mobile, that's normal. On PC, even for small £3 educational game, it feels ancient. Severity on all this? Medium. It'll not stop you playing, but it does make it feel more like a prototype than a finished classroom tool. Localization? To be fair, they've gone hard on languages. English, various Spanish types, German, Japanese, Brazilian, Portuguese, simplified Chinese. Language switching works and don't blow up UI. But at least in German it reads more like a phrasebook than "So wie es eine echte Lehrkraft vor der Klasse sagen würde." Understandable, but stiff. Not a bug, just polish that stops it feeling as premium as Store Page wants you to think. Who's this for right now? For hardcore adult gamers, this is a short burst of colour-coded arcade chaos with a neat science twist for price or bad coffee. If idea or a schmuck with difficulty lives on a visible spectrum sounds fun, you'll get a couple of evenings out of it. For parents and teachers, right now you're buffer between game and kid. You're explaining controls, smoothing over unfair deaths, and telling them they're not stupid when invisible rock deletes them. For SEN classrooms, this build's not ready. Idea's perfect, tuning's not. Final verdict? Mix It Reloaded right now is like a brilliant science teacher who refuses to explain rules before starting a dangerous experiment. When it flows, it really works. Light, colour and learning are all braided together. When cracks show, kids will bounce off and blame themselves, not design. If you're a curious adult who loves weird educational experiments, wishlist it, maybe grab it on sale, and enjoy it as a cool little curiosity. If you're a parent or teacher wanting plug-and-play classroom magic, wait for a patch that fixes tutorial, colours, difficulty spikes and progression weirdness. If you're Tiampo, you're about 70% at way to something special. Tighten this up and you could have one of those, "Oh yeah, we used that in school" cult classic instead of that colour game that make kids cry. Right, that's enough light-based trauma for one night, and I'm off to recalibrate my eyeballs and apologise to an imaginary classroom. If you want more QA-style reviews like this, you know what drill. Like, subscribe, comment, all that bollocks. If you have played it, tell me in comments what broke first, your ship or your patience. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent.